Code white, 2 southeast. Code white, 2 southeast.
Hey, I'm Stephanie, your host. I spent a year and a half collecting hospital bracelets and Grippy Socks like it's a hobby. Welcome to Grippy Sock Talk, where I read the funniest psych word stories and memes. Because if you're gonna lose your mind, you might as well laugh about it. You're not alone, and here, nothing is off limits. Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of Grippy Sock Talk. Today I have Steven.
Hi.
And we have John, or I might refer to him as Crew.
Hello.
And we're going to be reading some funny psych word stories from Reddit. So I'm going to start with the first story. And I know the stories. I went through them. My guess, they haven't. So it's going to be live reactions. And we'll see how everything goes. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Just going to share the screen right here. All right. So this starts with, she slapped my ... One time in the psych ward, an elderly nurse assistant attached the sensors of an EKG to my body. I couldn't stop moaning and moving around. I popped a hard one, and after a moment, she slapped it. To me, it was as if she was saying, "This is all you're getting, LOL." Though it was funny and thought I'd share this. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. So
I mean, I've been hooked up to an EKG before, and where was she putting the leads?
I have no idea. And for the guts of her to be like, wham, nope, that's not happening. And why this is Pondering Joseph, that's his name, shared it in the Psych Word Chronicle. Why is he sharing this? Why is he like, oh, this, why did he have to specify elderly nurse? And then...
That's asking the important questions.
Like, why elderly? Why did the AKG, why were you moaning? AKG goes on your chest, and I think one goes on your feet for grounding. And for the nurse to be like, nope, not today. I gives prop to her.
Well, I mean, as far as the slap, I mean that's a common medical technique. Not speaking from firsthand experience. I did athletics in high school, and you have to go for your annual physical, and had some friends come out and be like, yeah, this happened, and they slapped it, so they'll make it go down real quick. But
it does. I've heard of like a flick. I guess it. Whoop.
Flick?
Yeah, flick it. Like a hard, like...
That's rude.
I can't even do it hard enough. But I think nurses are used to it. They're just like, nope, not happening. Not today. Yeah. So that was... when I read that, I had a laugh because I just can't imagine someone being like, yep.
But still, hey, during an EKG, how?
I have no... Like, there's no... You don't feel like... I wore a Holter monitor for 24 hours, and I actually have one coming soon. And there's nothing or about that. It's actually uncomfortable. You have to walk around with it, and you're plugged in, and then one of them unplugged, and I had to contact my friend who's an EKG tech and be like, where the hell does this go, and what am I supposed to do?
Maybe they're into elderly nurses, and... Yeah, I don't judge.
Like, is there one of the little pads that goes like around the groin, like low, like that low?
No.
There's like, I wish I had my friend. I do know there's a bunch on the chest, different spot on the, like, maybe lower on the body, and I know there's one on the ankle because that one's the grounding. I learned that. It's the grounding one. But they're all like different leads to see all around your heart. But yeah, I don't know. Like you're in a psych ward and you're getting an EKG and then that turns you on. But let me tell you, from all the story I've read, a lot of people get turned on in the psych ward and I do not know why. I don't understand.
With someone's mental state. You're saying?
I guess if they're manic, that could, I don't know. I wasn't. That was the last thing on my mind when I was in.
Possibly.
Yeah. All right, I'll share the next one. All right. Patient phoned the emergency police after waking up from being injected. So I have a funny story actually about that. When I was in, there was a girl who was extremely manic. I don't want to laugh at the fact that she was manic, but she was very manic. Okay. And I don't know why she was thinking her son was in danger, so I guess that part's not funny. But she ended up picking the payphone, calling 911 in the psych ward, and said that she's in the psych ward, you're doing all kind of that they shouldn't be doing. And the police showed up. They actually put her in right after that when they noticed that she called 911. She called 911, not just like the non-emergency line. She called 911. The cop, obviously, they have to show up, and they put her in CNC. Do you know what CNC is, crew? Because it might be different.
It sounds familiar.
So it's in the hospital I was at, it's called concentrated nursing care. So that was for very patient, aggressive patient, manic or whatever, someone that's going to hurt themselves. So they're behind the nurse station. They have like individual room and they have a camera and someone's constantly watching the cameras. And you don't have access to a lot. Sometimes not even your own clothes. You have to be in a, what they call a Johnny shirt. So they put her in there so that she wouldn't call again. And the cops were like, you can't do this. You can't call us and let us know that you're in the psych ward and you need help. That was funny. That's it.
It was a short story.
It was a short story, but I had the story with it. So I was like, you know what? I have to share this because I couldn't believe that the cops were there and they're like, you can't do this. You absolutely cannot do this. But yeah, it was definitely a short story. So the next one that I have for you guys. Okay. One of the patients picked up the phone, again, another phone one, and said, I would like to make a collect call to 100 Huntley Street, which is a Christian talk show. And also, can you send a cop? Again. I got in the head last night. She hanged up the phone and said while walking away, hung up on me.
So many questions.
I wish we could speak to them directly.
I have so many questions. First off, why? Why the Christian talk show?
Why the Christian talk show?
If they had been put through, what were they going to say?
Right? And then asked for the cop on the Christian talk show. And then said she was shot in the head last night. She hung up on them and said, bitch hung up on me. I just love these stories. I love them. I have so many questions, though.
So many questions.
All right. Oh, I had another elderly lady. I had an elderly lady constantly insulting me in 3 different languages for being overweight, lecturing me every time I ate a meal, telling me I should stop eating until I got skinny. Eventually I snapped and we had a shouting match and I got moved to a new room. One of the nurses told me in private that she's an ex-teacher who had a reputation for being exceptionally verbally to her students to the point of going to their homes to scold them about their grades. Another patient told me that after I moved rooms, the lady complained that I'd gotten her into so much trouble over nothing. No comment.
A nurse needs to be a patient, right? That's not okay.
No, like
None of that was okay.
no. Well, first of all, to just like shame someone and be like, "Stop eating because you're
Yeah.
okay," and then someone knew her and was like, she would go to students' house and scold them about their grades. If a teacher shows up to my house to scold me on my son's grade, she's getting it. No, you're not coming to my house.
She has nothing to do, so much to the point where she's on her time off, goes to the students' houses to mess with them. That's
Well, she's not in the psych ward for nothing. She definitely belongs there. Oh my God.
She should be a patient in that psych ward.
She 100%.
I mean, what matters is she's in the psych ward, right?
Yeah.
Patient, caretaker, same rooms.
Yeah, pretty much.
Different role.
I had an incident where I had to have a roommate switch. I was talking about my son because I was in postpartum, right? Like 4 months postpartum. That was the whole reason why I was in, mainly. And I had so many roommates, but this one roommate, I'll always remember, I was talking with my son, and then she got mad. Literally mad, stood up, in the common room, put her hand on the table and was like, "Do not talk about kids around me." And then she starts going into her horrific story, which she does have a horrific story. But I was like, and then people in the background that were supporting me were like, "No, you keep talking about your son. You're allowed to." And then she just stormed off, and I was like, I'm not sleeping in a room with her. She's insane. And that, I'm sorry, that she was military, so she was so she had a watch, and for some reason, every hour it would beep. Every hour of the day and night. And that kept waking me up. And I told her, it is like, you need to put that off, and she would have to wake up at 6 and would have to have her uniform perfectly, she was so, I don't know how to explain it, so particular about how things are supposed to be. And she would go to the nurse's station desk and stand up and then do the feet like this.
Stand at attention.
Paid at attention. And I was like, you're in a psych ward. You do not have to do that. I kind of felt bad for her. But we had a yelling match in the common room. And I asked the nurse to change room, or have her out of my room. She's the one who yelled at me, and at that time I was voluntary, but not discharged, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the nurse got mad at me because changing room for them is so annoying. And she's like, "Well, you're here voluntary. You can leave anytime you want." I was like, wow. And they made me change room. So she was able to stay there, have a new roommate, and I had to change rooms. So that was absolute in my opinion. That's, yeah. You remember that story, Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was something else. Yeah.
She was probably on course, and the stress got to her, and she couldn't get out of that stressful moment. So she was just stuck on army, and she just couldn't disconnect.
She couldn't. No, she was going at the nurse station, standing at attention, you would call?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do things like that, and then when she would leave, she would turn around and do turn around and step. She couldn't she wasn't from where our city, where I live. She was from another province completely. So she was here on exercise, which was
Exercise or course?
exercise or course, one of the other. I wasn't sure. But anyway, I know she wasn't from here, and she was in the field, and then got sent to the psych ward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and she really needed the help, though. You
Sure.
could definitely tell she was absolutely manic, completely manic, and she couldn't get out of the military mindset. She had to have her alarm for a certain time, and yeah, it was. She was talking to her was like speaking to a robot as well, like before our yelling match. Because after that, she came to me like nothing happened. I said, "Don't talk to me." She's like, "Oh, okay." Like she didn't know what happened, but I was like, "Don't talk to me anymore. You screamed at me. Don't. I'm leaving. I'm changing rooms." But yeah, that was my roommate. Well, one of my roommate experience. So I'm gonna share the next one. This one is quite long. This story was actually longer, but I tried to just put it to what was more important. So I was told I was leaving at the end of the week, so on the last day I was just staring at the clock and like waiting. So this dude I had been conversing with every now and then came up to me. I told him I was leaving in a few hours because we had become buddies, I guess. He seemed pretty stressed at the thought of me leaving, but I decided to not focus on the clock. Decided to focus on the clock and not pay that much attention. LOL. He started like pacing around and raising his voice. The staff was eyeing him and shit. And then he sat down at the table I was at and confessed. He was like, "I need to tell you something. I'm in love with you." And I was like, "Bro, you have known me for like a week. That's not realistic." He started like pacing around frantically and then stood and looked at me. His eyes got all wide. He then loudly proclaimed, "I just shit my pants." Like he was announcing it to everyone in the room. He started bugging the staff about getting new pants and like walking around in a huff, LOL. On my way out the door, some of the last words I heard him say were, "There's shit dripping down my leg. I need new pants." Only the epitome of romantic poetry such as this could convince me to date ever again. I thought he was semi-sane, which is why I talked to him, but I guess confessing your love to someone and immediately your pants while they leave the psych ward could drive someone over the tipping point. Hope he's doing better now. Laugh my ass off.
Wow. Hey, I mean, that's how I express my love for other people. Is yeah, just my pants.
Yeah, the softer the better.
It's like he panicked because she was leaving and he had to confess and then just like literal running through his pants. I also don't understand these love affair. Like, I've met you, we've been in this psych ward for a week and then suddenly we're in love. Not sure how that happens. If someone their pants telling me they love me, I'm calling the cops, or I'm calling the church, the Christian talk show.
But
Help!
for anyone out there who's watching this that is afraid to, say how they feel to somebody, it can't go worse than this. It can't be worse than this.
It can't. It absolutely can't. If you're nervous to tell someone you love them, go for it. Just don't shit your fucking pants.
I mean, shit your pants works on getting out a job.
Yeah.
If you're stuck at work and you really want to leave, you go, "Oh shit, I shit my pants. I gotta go. I
But,
can't
like,
keep you."
So, I'm going to disclose, you're in the army, Steven.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they want to check, or they'd just be like, "I believe you"?
No. No.
They'd be like, "Oh, I believe you."
Yeah.
And what about you with your career, crew?
I would just have to go upstairs, change pants, and not handle food the rest of the night. Yeah.
They'd be like, "Okay, you're done. Go take a shower. We'll see you tomorrow."
No. It'd be like, take a shower, get
Come
some fresh
back.
clothes on. Because working in hotels, I stay on property, so all my clothes are just upstairs. Just
Yeah,
go get fresh change of clothes.
It's a good thing you live here.
Exactly. Go back downstairs. I just can't handle food the rest of the night in case it's a foodborne illness.
Well, yeah, right? And also, if you're in the field, Steven, you also can't just be like, I'm going home because all your clothes are there too.
Yeah.
I guess, but like if they think I have gastro, I'd have to be quarantined.
They would keep you in the field, but quarantine?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, okay, go home even in the field?
Maybe, but like gastro, lasts maybe a day or two. Then I'd be good.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Unless they're like,
yeah.
your clothes are all. We're not gonna, wash them.
Well,
Go home, clean your clothes, and come back.
Yeah, I guess. Question of the night: would you guys your pants to get out of work or situation?
No.
No.
I've thought about it. I know people who did, but I've got dignity.
Right? Yeah. No.
Plus, these sorts of stories follow you around. Oh, that's the guy that shit himself.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
No, I did my pants not on purpose. And this kind of off topic, but not off topic because I was in the psych ward postpartum, but I was 3 days postpartum. Okay, I just given birth, and I chose the overnight shift because I'm a night owl, as you guys know. So I was like, I'll do the nights. And at first, when you have a baby, for people who don't know, you have to feed them every 2-3 hours. Even if they're sleeping, you have to wake them up and be like, okay, you gotta eat. So I did that, and I started to feel the urge to go, but I was like, that's okay, I can, hold it in, whatever. And I'm like, okay, no, this is happening. This is happening. I'm just about to put him in his bassinet, and then it happened.
Paint the walls.
It happened. Thankfully, I was wearing these huge postpartum pads because you bleed a lot. But still, it still went through, and I was like, I didn't realize that 3 days postpartum, not only is everything down, everything down there is loose, including, I think you call it your sphincter.
Yeah.
That is also very loose. But I didn't know. Today I could hold it in, but 3 days postpartum, girls, if you're 3 days postpartum and you feel like you need to go, go. Do not think you can hold it in. You can't. You will your pants. And I ended, because it was like 2 in the morning, 2:30. I just took everything off and I threw it in the trash. These pajama pants, I was like, I'm not cleaning this. I threw them. Gone. Never to be seen.
Yeah.
I was not going to what was I going to do? Do a freaking load of laundry at 2:30, exhausted, just gave birth? Everything went to the trash. So that was funny.
I trusted a fart.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful with those. All right, so I think I have 1 or 2 more here. All right, this one says, are we sharing our crazy stories? I had another patient come to me, take out his and offered to be my. I told him to put it away or I'd snap it like a twig, and he didn't bother me again.
That's a really good justified threat.
Yeah.
Man,
Can you
I'd be
imagine?
scared.
Right? Like, you think things like that happens, in jail, right? But I feel like jail and psych ward are very similar-ish.
I mean, you're locked up, pretty much. If you're not voluntary, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, the needs, they never go away. At
Yeah.
some point,
Yep.
you gotta do the deed.
Yep. But, I mean, to just whip it out and be my...
Hey, he shot his shot. can I say?
Yeah.
You gotta respect it.
Yeah,
Did
but
he also shit his pants right after?
after confessing his need, like, I get the person. I would snap it like a twig. Absolutely. I wouldn't just do a little slap like the elderly nurse. No. If I see it again, you can break it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time it happens during,
Yep.
most of the time. I don't know how else, I guess it would happen.
Pain Olympics.
Olympics?
No, Pain Olympics.
Paint. I was like, what are you talking about? Actually, remember, I'm going to have to put this here. There's a photo of this guy doing the Olympic jump, and his leg was so big that
The first pole vaulter. Yeah.
yes, it touched the tip, and did he fail because of that?
Yep. Yeah.
He did. Like, so I guess you could break it if it's hard and you do stuff like that.
Yeah, but he wasn't hard.
Can you imagine it?
The Olympic guy. I mean, so you're the pole vaulter, right?
Yep.
And you're that guy. Is it a win or a fail?
Both.
It's a win in my book.
Definitely both. Definitely both.
Hey, even if, and that's just reminding me of that the second guy shooter from, you're gonna know who I'm talking about, Steven. The shoot, like the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
Turkey.
Think it's Turkey?
Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey.
He got second place, but really, he won.
Yeah.
He won. He was like,
Hand in the pocket.
Stone cold.
Yeah.
Stone cold.
just blank, and he won. He won 100%. All right, the last thing that I will share is a meme, and I think Steven will probably relate to this one. And I just find it really funny. So it says, "My Prince Charming coming to rescue me from this Psych Ward tower." I actually own a pair of Grippy Sock. And I still have them. I will eventually show it here, because I had to keep it. I had to. I mean, they give you Grippy Socks. But I feel like that was you, Steven, every day. Even though I was home, I was almost home. Even though he was home, taking care of the baby, he visited me every night.
Love it.
Every single night he came to visit me. And then there's also that one time I went in by myself because I was starting to feel so I was like, I need to go. And they put me in this that I call CNC, and I will probably talk a lot about CNC on this channel. Because it's all you have is a bed, a room, blankets, a shitty pillow, and white walls. And then you hear people screaming. Or that's another story. Construction crew had to come to one of the rooms because someone totaled it. But they put me in there. And I'm like crying to get out. Like, please just let me out on the main floor. I'm not going to do something. I'm here. I'm here for help. I asked for help. Please just let me on the floor and let me be on the regular, like, ward. So the next morning I was crying hysterically. Like, move me. There's this man that was also in there that was locked in his room. I wasn't locked in mine, so I could go to use the washroom, but he was locked because he was insane. And then the psychiatrist comes in. I could hear her footsteps, literally. Comes in like this, and she's like, "You're asking all the staff to see me because you want to leave CNC. You came here on your own free will. You signed on this paper here, and blah, 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 blah." And she starts to yell at me as I'm there crying just to be on the main floor. She's like, "I just got in. It's just started my shift," and then leaves. And I'm like, are you trying to make me more? Like, what's your problem? And then in the afternoon, she comes in. She's like, okay, I'm gonna let you on the main floor. And I'm like, when you came in to at me, couldn't you have just done that? You took the time to walk to in my CNC room to at me, but you couldn't send me on the main floor at that point. Yeah,
That's tough. That's tough.
oh, it is like that. And I ended up leaving. And that's where the Cinderella story of the meme comes in, because I was volunteer, but I was supposed to be there for like a 72 hold, but I was still volunteer. So I said, this place, if she wants to act like this, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not going to tolerate being yelled at. So I got put on the main floor. I called Steven and I'm like, I'm leaving. So I had to sign an AMA form. You guys know what that is? Against medical advice for people who don't know. Had to sign a piece of paper and for some reason I had to be escorted out by security. Security had to come up and escort me out of the hospital. I was like, I know my way out. You don't have to escort me. But anyway, that's how they did it. And then I ended up back in the psych ward a week later because I did attempt. And I told the paramedics and the ER doctor and the psychiatrist I saw in the ER, I told them, well, I was here a week ago and she yelled at me, so I left. Because I tried to overdose on benzodiazepines. And then when I meet her, she's like, I see here that you told the paramedics, the doctors, that I yelled at you. And I was like, yeah, you did. And her tone changed. I think she didn't think I was going to admit to it. I was like, yeah, you did. And then she got all sweet and nice and, oh, it was just a day. And I'm like, yeah. But at first she tried to confront me and be like, you really said that? And I was like, yeah, I did say that because you did. So I let her know. And then she was probably like, okay, I should calm down. And she did.
And fortunately, my experience was very much the opposite. So the hospital I had gone to, so first I was put under involuntary 72 hours, and then at the end of that, I requested another 72 because I was getting great care. I didn't feel ready to leave, and they were like, "Well, the fact that you can recognize that tells us that you're probably okay to go on your own." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm afraid this is just a moment of clarity, and I don't want to relapse immediately." And so stayed for another 72 hours. But in that time, like most of the people on the floor with me were going through detox. Like my roommate was coming off of a lot of opioids, so those first couple nights rooming with him were pretty rough, with him fighting through detox. And then on like our fourth day, my fourth day, he got discharged, and they didn't have anybody to put in there with me, so I had the room to myself. So that was kind of nice. That was kind of nice.
Oh.
But yeah, the nurses, doctors at my hospital were fantastic. Really, really did personalized care. Check in on us frequently, of course. Especially overnight, where they come and barge in the room every hour. Yeah,
Flashing the light.
They were trying their best to be quiet, but those doors are loud. Yeah,
Yeah.
and, but yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't have any visitors. Tried to get my now ex-wife, to come out there, at least to bring me some supplies, because I just had, the clothes on my back when I showed up, which wasn't allowed to have any of those, for psych reasons. But and they even tried to get her in for some sessions to kind of corroborate what I was saying or refute, just to kind of get another perspective, to give me better care, but also kind of obviously there's something going on at home, so let's bring the other person in and start working on this for later. And she refused, which at the time I was heartbroken. Later realized that that was probably the first nudge I needed to go ahead and get out of that relationship, because it was so extremely toxic.
Absolutely.
And, so grateful, that she didn't try to fix it when I
Yeah, when you look back, you're like absolutely grateful. Yeah.
But I had a good experience in the hospital, which very fortunate. I've heard a lot of stories otherwise.
Yeah. And like, I'm not saying horrible stories to scare anyone. If you need help, go get the help.
Please.
But the first time I was in for 5 weeks, I had a blast. Okay, we were playing games, card games, board games, laughing, whatever. Like, I had an absolute blast. And for the most part, it was positive. But the bads were bad. You know what I mean? But there were a lot of good. I made friends in there, and there was a lot of good. There is a lot of good. And if you need to go and you feel like you need to go, don't be ashamed to walk in on your own. Like, I walked in on my own 2 times, and then there was once when Steven called 911 on me that I was formed. I don't know what they call it in the US, but I was put on a Form 1, which I can't leave at all until a psychiatrist signs off of it. If I do, RCMP is looking for me. Not allowed to leave. I couldn't even go for smokes. Oh my God, that drove me nuts. But when you're volunteer, you're allowed to, in certain times, to go out for a smoke, and you have to be back within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But for the most part, it was good. There were some bad people or staff, but made some good friends, and that I still talk to this day. That will be on this channel, actually, at some point.
But there are some good places out there, and I just had to look it up real quick. But shout out to everybody at Methodist Hospital in San Antonio, Texas.
Shout out to you guys if you're good. You helped my man here.
Woo! Still here.
Woo! Still here. Yeah, thank
That's
God.
a win.
Yeah,
That's a win.
that's win.
That's a win. Everyone needs a crew in their life. I call him Crew. His name's John. Long story. But yeah, you'll always be Crew to me, not John. Like, it's telling you John is not natural to me.
That's right.
I don't think it's natural to Steven to even call you Crew. To call you John. It's natural to call you Crew.
Yeah.
And when Tyler comes on, it's going to be hard for me to not call him Pure.
Yeah.
That's going to be, But he will be on, I think, the 3rd episode. So I can't wait. All right, so what was your highlight? We'll start with Crew.
Don't start with me. Well, getting to talk and hang out with the two of you again. It's been too long.
It's been a long
that,
time.
That was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, so some of the stories were fun. Like, of course, your pants story was chef's kiss.
I was gonna say that.
He's like, he stole my line.
Nah.
We'll see what happens when you make me go first, and I don't wanna. I'm gonna steal all your lines. But then also, I like a lot of balance, and so you got the fun, shit your pants story, but then also the sad, unfortunate, terrible care story from from that one nurse, your former teacher, degrading everybody.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I was hoping for a horror story.
Oh, that might come. Right now it's funny. But I think at some point I'll do episodes where it's like
Super serious.
not serious,
Super
but Yes. Oh, there's gonna be some more shock factor is the word I was looking for. So I'm like,
There you go.
shock factor. I wanted it today, the first episode, to be a little bit light,
Yeah.
kind of give an idea of what's to come. There are gonna be some shock factors, some pretty up. But I just wanted to keep it light. The first episode, get a feel of how things are going. What people like, they can always put in a comment, oh, I would like to hear these type of stories or this or that, or, just get feedback from the first episode. So yours was also the story, Steven?
Yeah, I like.
You like you like shit. I don't know what to tell you. I think mine, I don't know why, is the person threatening to snap it like a twig. I think if someone did that to me after reading that, I'd either threaten or do it. I have to. Like, would it snap? Like, would
Yeah.
it? Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Cruise thinking.
No, somewhere in my brain there's a file, with how many pounds of force it takes to rip it off. And I'm trying to find that file somewhere in there.
I thought you were gonna say, like, there's a file of things you don't want to even imagine happening to you.
Oh, I'm sure I got one of those too.
Yeah, we definitely all do. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining the first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, leave them in a comment. If you liked it, like, share, comment, do all the things. And I'll see you on the second episode. Bye.